One of the big talking points around the 12-team college football playoff was that Alabama was snubbed and SMU should not have gotten in. I actually disagree with that point. While I think there should have been another team that got in, I think it should have been South Carolina because I believe they had the best resume of teams who got left out. The Gamecocks were on fire the second half of the season, and they seemed to be getting better and better as the year progressed. The biggest reason for this was their absolutely elite defense, which I believe was the best in the SEC. They had playmakers everywhere at all three levels of the defensive side of the ball, but their pass rush duo was something to behold. True freshman Dylan Stewart was absolutely remarkable and was one of the best players in college football. But Kennard broke out in 2024 and won the award for the top edge rusher in the country. In an edge class loaded with talent, how high could we hear Kennard's name taken in the 2025 draft class? That is what we will be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page where for $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board with over 500 prospects and counting. It is some of the best work that I have put together, and if you enjoy my NFL draft content, I highly recommend checking it out. Leave a comment on this video and let me know which prospects you guys would like to see in the future, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Kennard. Kennard started his collegiate career at Georgia Tech, where he saw some solid success, but never really broke out until 2023, where he finished with a career-high 21 pressures, 7 sacks, and 30 tackles on the year for the Yellow Jackets. His production was a career high up to that point, and he was a pretty sought-after name in the portal. He decided to transfer to South Carolina in 2024, where he was absolutely phenomenal for the Gamecocks. He had 36 total pressures, 10 sacks, and 12 total tackles, and just flew all over for the Gamecocks, and his draft stock has gone through the roof after an incredible season. The first thing that really stands out when watching Kennard is his incredible explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. His first step is lethal, and he does a really nice job of converting speed to power. He is a twitched up athlete who has the quickness and burst that is ideal for a starting edge player at the next level. One thing I will say about Kennard is I think his athleticism might be a little overrated. His first step and quickness is absolutely elite, but he definitely feels like a player who slows down a little bit after the initial burst. It's not bad or an area I'm extremely worried about, but it's something I haven't seen anyone discuss, and it is something I noticed on tape when I watched Kennard. Kennard also has absolutely remarkable length for the edge rusher position. He has long arms and knows how to utilize it to his advantage by long-arming defenders, and he displays really good bend where he's able to set up offensive linemen and get around the edge, and I love that about his game. It's not just the length with Kennard though. He has a plethora of pass rush moves that it feels like he can break out at any point. He had a really nice swim move, he showed a spin, he showed up and unders, and he had some power in his game as well. He has a deep pass rush tool bag, and that's something that I love to see from any edge player, but definitely in the case of Kennard. A comment I have seen going around with Kennard is that he doesn't have the counter moves necessarily, and I didn't see that on tape. I see him combining moves and finding ways to get in the backfield time and time again, and that's not a major problem or a concern for me. There's a lot to love with Kennard, but he does have some areas I'd like to see some improvement on. For one thing, he needs to add on a little bit more mass if he's going to play a true edge in the NFL. He's 240 pounds, and that's just too slim to go at the NFL level. He has the body type to be able to add on more weight. We just haven't seen that up to this point, but I'd like to see him get up to about 252 at the next level. Another area I'd like to see improve is that he often looks out of control. Kennard plays with a high motor and high effort, and that's something scouts are going to absolutely fall in love with. But sometimes he doesn't know how to reel it back and contain that aggressiveness. The LSU game is a perfect example where he just had late penalties that ultimately ended up costing the team the game. He just doesn't have situational awareness like you would like to see at times. Not only do you see it with penalties in the case of the LSU game, but I think his football IQ shows when dissecting the run. He's got to do a better job of recognizing where the run is going and making plays, because he is a very underwhelming run defender at this point in his career. He had a 15.4% missed tackle rate in 2024, and he desperately needs to play a little bit more grounded, be a bit more disciplined, and just show better football IQ. Kylekennard is one of my favorite players in this draft class because he can rush the passer in a variety of ways. He's got incredible burst and quickness and has been an absolute force for the Gamecocks. He's a really great player, but with the lack of elite run defense, the lack of elite size, he does fall down my board just a little bit in a loaded edge rusher class. He is my number 10 edge in the draft class and my number 54 overall player. In terms of a scheme fit, I just don't see Kennard being used as a 4-3 edge simply because I don't think he has the proper size, but he also doesn't have the proper pad height. He plays high a lot, and he just would benefit better from being a stand-up rusher. So I'd like to see him as a 3-4 outside linebacker in a stand-up rusher role where he can pin his ears back, come downhill, and rush the passer primarily. I think that's where he is going to thrive in the NFL. My player comparison for Kylekennard is Seattle Seahawks edge rusher Uchenna Nwosu. Nwosu has been banged up this year and last year for that matter for Seattle, but he's not the biggest guy in the world. But when he's on the field, he shows incredible pass rush upside with great length, great quickness, and he moves incredibly fluidly with good athleticism. He shows some good pass rush moves, and I think Kennard could be used in a very similar type of way, so that's going to be the comparison I have for him. Kylekennard is twitched up. He has great quickness and an array of pass rush moves to get into the backfield and make life difficult on the quarterback. He's one of my favorite under-the-radar players in the class, and ultimately, I believe that Kylekennard will be a 2nd to 3rd round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.